have you ever misplaced 12 scientists, Mike?
Oh my God, are we going to talk about that today?
Welcome to Nice Ashes. Join hosts Mike and Nate for cigars and culture. Let's go beyond the smoke.
What are we smoking today, Nate?
Boy, I'm pretty excited. We are smoking the Samuel Clemens Journal. Oh, sorry. This is the Mark Twain Memoir.
Heck yeah.
Close.
These Mark Twain cigars are pretty popular. They're very reasonable, and this is the first one I've ever tried, so I'm excited.
I've never tried one either, and I've just now noticed that they've got, it has been my rule never to smoke when sleeping and never to refrain from smoking when awake. That must be a Samuel Clemens-ism.
Controversial guy. In modern times, I guess. At least he was there for a minute during the Biden administration, I believe.
Yeah, he comes up from time to time as being controversial. Everything I've read and seen about him has really not been. I actually got to go visit his house out in Connecticut. A longer story for not today, but very interesting person.
I think the reason why he becomes controversial every now and again is that he was hard-nosed and uncompromising in his honesty. And he said some really negative things about society that still resonate.
Yeah, and will likely continue to resonate. Cap tastes real nice. Pleasant.
And not aspirin.
Next episode, spoilers.
Good first puff.
Ooh, is it ever? Is it ever? I am pairing this with a Three Floyds Turbo Reaper IPA.
Oh, what kind is that? As you described the floral notes next episode.
As I did this previously in the past, now next time. This is, it's just an IPA. It's very cool, though. I don't really know how to describe it. It's not citrusy. It's just a regular IPA, 7% by the Three Floyds group over there. It's got some cool artwork. And you know what? Since you mentioned it, I'll take a special beer can artwork, which I don't often do because we're primarily a cigar, and by cigar I mean pop culture type of thing. But I will get a nice picture here for the Instagram, and everyone can see this can because it's quite neat. And I'll send it to you, Mike, right now so that you also can be appraised. Is it appraised or apprised?
Appraised is like assessing value.
You're worth a lot.
Apprised, I don't know if is a word. I don't know. I'm not, I didn't go to some wizard magic school, so.
You're not Black Snape.
Something like that. I'm pairing mine with some ice water, and I have a cocktail. For the first time in a long time, I have a Double Crown on ice with black walnut bitters.
Prediction, will Mike have a Double Crown-esque cocktail next episode or not? Leave a comment, and we'll see if you were right.
Well, for regular listeners, they know there's a theme.
There's always a theme, and regular listeners also know that we don't always record in release order. Some things get a little star-crossed, as they say.
They do. And I'll give a story this episode, since you're going to listen next episode next week, everyone. The reason why I'm having these is I went to a party, a themed party. And, of course, I was the designated driver. We were there for 5 hours. I had 2 drinks. Both of them Double Crowns on the ice. That's what I drink. These days, if I'm at a bar that doesn't have good taps, I will get a Double Crown on the rocks, and then I'll get bitters in it, which of course none of these crap hole bars have bitters. So now I'm at home, I'm like, I wish they would have had some bitters. So now I'm at home and I have these fancy bitters in my bar. For those who know me know I have a full bar. So I was like, hey, I had a Double Crown on the rocks on Friday. Maybe I'll do it again on Tuesday.
Why not?
Why not? It was a good drink then. I can tell you that one of the keys is let the ice melt.
Yep.
But, yeah. So if any of us go out, so for those of you, this is the first episode we've recorded since after the paddle fishing meetup. So thank you to everybody, all the listeners that came to the paddle fishing meetup. Maybe I have a couple new listeners. I know I talked to a couple of the fellows out there on the island, and they said they might make a listen. So if we have any new listeners from paddle fishing, welcome. Glad to have you here. And I appreciate everybody that came out to the Nice Ashes tent over the weekend. We had one listener in there for sure.
Oh, yeah. I don't doubt it. One of these years, maybe next year even, We'll see how everything shakes out in Nate's personal life. Maybe Nate will be out there next year. That would be amazing. We've been talking about it for a few years now, and it's definitely on the short list of things on Nate's list to do.
This year was the honey hole. I haven't sent you the pictures, but this was a couple years ago. It's very similar, not the same numbers, but everybody caught a fish the first day by noon. Nice. Everybody that was going to fish caught one. There were, unfortunately, this year, probably half a dozen guys who didn't get it. A couple years ago, everybody who cast a line caught a fish like 3 or 4 years ago. It was pretty intense. But this year, damn near everybody got one. There were 6 guys that never caught one. I've been there. I feel for you. I feel for your brothers. Next year will be your turn and my turn to not bring home a fish that I will not eat. So...
Yes. I've been fishing before and I've not caught things while fishing, and I've gone hunting and not got things while hunting. So it can be pretty demoralizing, but you know what? If the weather is good and you're out in nature, you're not really losing.
The weather was insanely beautiful. One of the best weekends we've had out there ever. For sure. And there's a reason why it's called hunting and fishing, but not farming.
Yes.
So
called hunting and fishing, not getting and receiving.
Yes.
What are we talking about, Mike?
I don't know. It's not my topic, thank goodness.
Oh, yes. Have you ever misplaced something, Mike?
No, Nate. I think I have. Maybe even today.
Okay.
In fact, I know I did today. Because I was sorting bowling balls and I couldn't find a box for one of them. And I put it in a very wise spot where it belonged.
It's the last place you look, right?
It was.
Well, you know what they say, if you keep looking after you found it, you're probably not too bright. So everything you look for is always in the last place you looked.
Jeff Foxworthy joke about that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, probably so. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Well, have you ever misplaced 12 of one thing, Mike?
If you include boxes of electrical parts, I am sure that I have.
Sure, I would count that as 1. I'm talking, have you ever misplaced 12 scientists, Mike?
Oh my God, are we going to talk about that today?
We're talking about the 12 missing scientists.
Heck yeah, missing. That's a strong term. I mean, if you go for a hike without your phone but a pistol.
And 12 is also a little bit of a misnomer because I counted 13. But the popular news media likes to place it around 10 to 12.
Well, you can't.
We're going to go through it.
Somebody because he's a security guard, Nate.
Well, we're going through it.
He doesn't count.
We are going through it.
I'm excited.
I knew you would be. All right. So this all kind of started in the early 2020s, and it started to gain significant attention in 2025 and 2026. There's been a number of deaths and disappearances involving individuals connected in varying degrees to scientific or technical fields, started to be grouped together in online discussions and some media coverage. These people have been affiliated with, NASA, Los Alamos National Laboratory, and MIT, and some others working in aerospace, nuclear research, engineering, and some administrative or support roles within those environments. The cases kind of vary significantly, but it's the fact that they're all, scientists, or scientist adjacent, that has kind of brought people to bring these together. And we're going to go through, what we're going to do here is we're going to go through and these are in quotes, missing scientists, okay? And then we're going to see a couple different ways to group them together. Then we're going to go through the conspiracies, and that'll kind of be that, Mike. Does that sound pretty good to you?
Sounds perfect.
So I don't remember, I think it was a meme on a meme site where I saw that there were scientists that were missing, and they were like, oh yeah, 12 NASA scientists went missing or whatever, and it's not concerning at all, no big deal, whatever. Yeah, sarcasm, right? So then I thought, hey, that might be kind of a good thing to go through and go over with our listeners. And I don't usually do the conspiracy theory ones, and I thought that might be a nice change of pace.
Yeah, we'll get you extending your neck, so to speak.
Yeah, we'll get me a tinfoil hat or something. I don't know why I was so high-pitched there, but, hopefully it comes through. Hopefully the audio is great on that. So you can all have high-pitched Nate. All right, missing scientists number 1, I don't know that they're in any order necessarily. So these are we're just going through them, and then we're going to start grouping them a couple different ways. One through where they worked, one through geographic location, and we'll see if either one of those kind of ways of looking at this makes anything make any more sense. And then we'll get into the conspiracies. So the first one is William Neal McCasland. All right. William is a retired U.S. Air Force Major General, former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, or the AFRL, for those of you that are in the military or just fucking love acronyms. He oversaw advanced weapon systems, aerospace research and development, and cutting-edge military technology programs. He had historical involvement in government investigations into UAPs, which is now, I guess, the 2025, 2026 bullshit thing we're calling UFOs. But they're unidentified aerial phenomena. He was later loosely connected to the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a civilian UFO-focused group. What do you feel about the UAP instead of the UFO, Mike?
It is my opinion that UAP is a new term that we are using, similar to the language shift on race or conspiracy theory. And specific to UFO, I think that our government threw dirt on the term UFO and it became a meme and laughable, but now it's a useful wedge to get people to look away at that. So they came up with a new term so people take it seriously, or they can at least present it seriously on mainstream media.
Yeah. Well, and UAP, like unidentified aerial phenomena. That could be the Northern Lights. I mean,
unidentified flying object could be a goose.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. An ivory-billed woodpecker could be a UFO.
100%.
All right, so what happened to William here? He disappeared in February of 2026 from New Mexico, and you know what? That's not that long ago, Mike. He was reported missing after going out and not returning. His status, as of our last reporting here that we've got, is missing. Cause of death is not determined. There's been no evidence of foul play publicly confirmed. There's been no reported cognitive or health concerns prior to disappearance. However, his wife stated he had declining health and cognitive issues. He had been retired for over a decade with limited active clearance. Local authorities say no evidence of foul play. Why he became central is he's a high-ranking aerospace UFO-adjacent person, so kind of the perfect storm for conspiracy narratives, and his case essentially triggered the entire viral theory that all 12 of these are related. But as far as I know, he's not been found.
Right. This guy is one of the outliers. There's a few of these that are outliers.
Well, and we'll get into those, but yeah.
Per our theme in other episodes, right, there's a mixture of taking advantage of crisis and generating crisis independently. And the cover is the random. You have to have the random as cover. That way you can slip in. You can slip in the on purpose.
Yeah.
So maybe this guy is just disappeared. If he genuinely was having some cognitive issues, old people go missing.
Well, yeah, and he's been retired for decades, right? He's retired. He had a stressful career, I would imagine, retired U.S. Air Force Major General, advanced weapon systems, aerospace R&D, technology program. I mean, he's seen it. He's seen things. So, for sure. All right, the next one maybe is a little more eyebrow-raising. This is Joshua LeBlanc. He was a NASA nuclear engineer, age 29. He worked on Draco, which is the demonstration rocket for agile cislunar operations and nuclear thermal propulsion systems. His focus was on next-generation space travel using nuclear propulsion. So what happened? He disappeared after leaving home without phone or wallet. He was later found dead in a burned Tesla after a crash. Car data showed that there was a strange stop at an airport before the crash. His status is he's deceased. The cause of death was vehicle crash/fire, but that's under investigation. And he was found in a burned vehicle after erratic travel behavior. The notes are, circumstances are unusual, but no confirmed homicide ruling. It raised some eyebrows because he's a young, high-level engineer in cutting-edge propulsion technology. And there was odd behavior before death, the airport stop, and missing belongings. Now, the official status is that there's no confirmed link to other cases. Still considered unexplained, but not proven to be foul play.
Did he bring a gun with him?
Unknown, at least for my notes. Like I said, there's 12, really 13 of these people. So some of these may seem pretty similar, but I don't.
Well, I'm just trying
to
to build a trend because I am aware of some of these cases,
yes.
but not
well, do
all.
you know? Did
Certainly
Joshua
not.
LeBlanc bring a gun with him or not?
I don't know.
All
I
right.
don't know. I don't think I heard
All
of
right.
Joshua LeBlanc or the first guy, really.
See, I mean, that's why we're going through it because, it's easy to say, hey, 12, 10 or 12 NASA scientists have been killed systematically throughout whatever. But that's why we're going through them. So we're going to go through them and then we'll get into some of the more nefarious stuff a little later. But we're just doing, and I wanted to do it this way where it's kind of like just the facts as are known. And then we'll get into the groupings of how we might be able to group these together to prove or disprove, right? Conspiracies. And then we'll get into the actual conspiracies and their strong points and weak points. So that's how we're going to do it. The next one is Michael Hicks. He was a planetary scientist at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His work included primary observation and space mission science support. What happened is he died in 2023. His cause of death was not publicly disclosed. It was believed to be natural causes, but it wasn't, again, publicly disclosed. And the family indicated a pre-existing medical condition. And the important context, again, was the family indicated he had a pre-existing medical condition. He was included in the conspiracy lists retroactively. This might be one of the clearest examples where a likely natural death became part of a larger narrative. However, the family can say one thing and whatnot, and we'll see from there.
If your family member was disappeared and you got a knock on a door from a guy in a gray suit who told you that he had a pre-existing condition or else.
Yep. Or maybe
What
he had
are
a
the
briefcase of money.
odds?
I don't know.
Yeah, possibly a deposit of some variety or another.
Yep.
I think that somebody could be convinced easily.
Potentially. All right. We're going to do this next one. And then I don't know if I'm halfway through. I'm just about to the first label, but this had 2 big labels on it. So we'll do this next one, which is number 4. And then we can do a cigar check. And then we'll go from there. So number 4 is Frank Maywald, Maiwald. He was an engineer at NASA JPL. He worked on satellite imaging systems and Earth observation missions, focusing on water, oceans, and spectroscopy. He died in July 2024. Cause of death not publicly specified. And there are no verified reporting that indicates foul play. There's no strong evidence of suspicious circumstances publicly confirmed, but he's included in this list because of an association with NASA and advanced sensing technology. So some of these people, I don't really have ages on. This might have been an older person or a younger person, but not to the same extent that Michael Hicks was. No, not Michael Hicks. I'm sorry. Joshua LeBlanc, who was 29 when he died. So the age is not called out here. So I believe that it could have potentially been normal stuff. But again, also maybe not. What do you think of your cigar so far, Mike?
So I would say I'm a quarter to a third, not quite half.
Sure.
I did remove the first label, and I'm about even where it would have been.
Yep, that's about where I am.
This, so far, is a very good Maduro cigar.
I
No
like
specific note coming out for me, but it does have depth. It has a broad Maduro
really
flavor.
does.
It does have a broad flavor. So it's not just a standard bin Maduro. It's better. It's got depth. It's good. For the price, excellent.
Yeah, how much does this run, Mike?
Oh, I guarantee I got this for $5 or less. I guarantee I got this $5 or less.
This is, if this is $5, $6 or less, basically, I'm going to go out on a limb. That old world that we had that was $5 in Chicago, this is also that good.
I don't know if it's as good as the old world.
I don't know if it's as good, but this is a Maduro. I don't think the old world was a Maduro.
It was not, but...
So, I don't know. It's still pretty good. We'll see how it finishes out, but halfway through, I'm a fan of this cigar.
Yeah, and the weird part, no real notes that are standing out. It's just a very broad bandwidth of Maduro-esque flavor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
just
know.
good.
I feel like it's got a decent nicotine content. Feels like it does.
I can feel it in my mouth for sure.
Yeah. So it's got that going for it, and it, I really do enjoy Mark Twain, and I don't know if it's just that's what they called it, and now I like it, or if it's just a cigar that I can kind of see him smoking, maybe, and maybe it's all marketing. I don't know, but I'm liking it so far. We'll just say that. All right, scientist number 5. Monica Jacinto Reza, materials engineer, metallurgist at NASA JPL. So this is another NASA JPL. And they worked in aerospace materials and structural performance in extreme environments. She disappeared in June of 2025. The last known activity was hiking in Angeles National Forest. Status is missing. Cause of death is unknown because disappeared while hiking and no body has been recovered. The context is that there's no foul play, confirmed, and it's a known category of wilderness disappearances. So,
is this the one who went hiking with a friend without a phone?
Potentially, Mike. I mean, we're only on 5 out of 13, so...
Okay, I know that there was one of these missing scientists who went hiking with a friend and neither one of them brought a phone.
I mean, that's...
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Which is, for a youngish woman, a woman under 40. Women under 40 didn't go anywhere without their phone.
That is true.
Because they're taking pictures of everything.
Yeah, you got a duck face at the cliff or whatever, right?
You gotta have the selfie over the side of the thing. You know,
yep.
You have to stop and spend a half an hour getting the perfect photo over Lake Tahoe, right?
Oh yeah, You don't do the hike for the hike. You do the hike for the selfie. You can post later.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, like I'm trying to keep this fact based with what is well known. And, potentially she didn't bring her phone. I don't know. You can look it up more in detail later. Again, we've got a lot of these to go through, plus all the other stuff later. But this is basically what has been publicly disclosed and is able to be confirmed. So, all right. We've got number 6, Nuno Lorio. They were a physicist at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They specialized in plasma physics, fusion energy research, and his work is relevant to nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion. Fission and fusion are two different things. He was killed in December of 2025. Cause of death is homicide. This is one of the few confirmed violent deaths in the group. It matters because fusion research is often tied to energy independence and military potential. Again, just like we don't know who had phones or guns or whatever, we also are not going into the specific details of why they were murdered, which we could potentially do later. You can look it up. I don't know. This is we're trying to look at the group as a whole, not necessarily every single individual. If that's fair. I don't know, Mike. I mean, feels like we're doing a disservice to at least Nuno, but potentially all of them. But again, this is the 12 missing scientists, right? So,
well, yeah, a quick recap is good, but I think details like missing phones. One guy I know put his phone in his wallet in the mailbox, and his wife found it later when she found him not in bed, and they had a pistol missing from the gun safe. And a different guy, a security guard, left his phone and his wallet on the bedstand and brought a gun with him and disappeared.
Yep.
So there's certain rhymes, right? It's not it's it's a pattern. It's a pattern. It's a pattern.
But if you wanted to look those people up, while I'm going through this, to add some additional context, that would be cool. If not, that's fine too, because, we're not supposed to be, we're a cigar podcast. We're not supposed to be the end all be all of these things. But if you're listening to this and you have questions about, wow, like these seem kind of oddly convenient or oddly inconvenient, or however you want to phrase it, you can do your own research and find out too and draw your own conclusions, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you what this is unless I felt very strongly about it. But I want you to draw your own conclusions.
I will guide listeners to a YouTuber named Julian Dory, and he has covered a lot of these individuals in depth through his show and other topics as well. But he's covered some of these people, very detailed stories about their backgrounds and why they would be targets, potentially, allegedly, maybe.
Yes. Well, we'll go through that briefly. But again, our whole premise of our show is we only have the amount of time it takes us to smoke the cigar. So we can only go so deep into so many different things before we're at the end.
Yeah, it's to whet your appetite if you're interested in the topic. You can go go and look up further resources for yourself and verify if we are, in fact, misinformation provided by the government.
Yeah,
production costs ain't
waiting
free.
For my government check.
Government people.
Yeah, government people. Yeah, and Mike and I are interested in a wide swath of things. And different things between the two of us, but we're also interested in the same things, but we gravitate towards different things. So one of the perks of doing the show is we can learn about what we're going to talk about next episode. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And we can have, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 90s-esque rap album on the show as well. So, it's the gamut. All right. Number 7 is Amy Eskridge. She was an independent researcher known for work in advocacy around gravity modification and anti-gravity concepts. She died in 2022. The official ruling was suicide, and it was later reinterpreted by conspiracy narratives, but there's no official evidence which contradicts the suicide ruling. It became controversial because she made some cryptic statements before death, and her family stated her death was consistent with known personal struggles. And her role became a cornerstone of the UFO/advanced tech conspiracies. So I think part of this too is scientists aren't at the same kind of zeitgeist in popular culture, the popular view, where every little thing they do is known. So you've got somebody who makes cryptic statements and then kills himself, right? And that fits a lot of people, right? That commit suicide, unfortunately. But it could also fit other things. And these people, scientists, are just not as in the public eyesight as, movie stars or politicians. So it's maybe a little more difficult to flat out say.
Well, yeah, you have to hide 2 or 3 fires in a group of 15. That makes it less obvious.
Multiple ignition points, Mike.
Multiple.
Is that what we're looking at?
79 ignition points. 79.
Well, we're looking at 12 here, Mike.
12 ignition points.
Yeah. All right. Number 8, Anthony Chavez, who's a former worker at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. Not a scientist per se, he was a construction foreman, but he disappeared in May of 2025. He is still missing, and cause of death is unknown because he's still missing. This is the weakest scientist classification, however, but it's still included because he is connected to the Los Alamos facility, and they do nuclear weapons research.
Well, and if you're a generalist and you're in many areas, you may see many things that you're not supposed to see necessarily. Take it from a former maintenance man, that you see lots of stuff, get exposed to many things.
Number 9, Melissa Cassius. She was an administrative assistant at Los Alamos. She disappeared in June of 2025. Still missing, cause of death unknown, and the family suggested a possible voluntary disappearance. The family also reported that she was under severe financial stress and reiterated that it was a possible voluntary disappearance. Sounds legitimate to me.
Well, people do all sorts of things. That'd be really hard to disappear in the modern world. Unless you went like Chris McCandless? Unless you went Chris McCandless, it'd be hard to disappear.
Yeah, it takes commitment to disappear, which would an admin assistant have that commitment? I don't know, maybe. I mean, again, like, it's an administrative assistant, and I'm not poo-pooing any administrative assistants. But, is that somebody that would voluntarily disappear? I mean, maybe. I don't know. But maybe not. It's not like they're a CEO of, like, Thrive or some fucking other scheme. You know what I mean?
Well, she didn't do a rug pull of LibraCoin.
Well, that's true, too, which we'll talk more about next episode. Number 10, Jason Thomas was a pharmaceutical researcher, and he was likely involved in drug development and biotech. He disappeared in December of 2025. His body was found in March of 2026. Cause of death has not been publicly confirmed. The body was recovered months after disappearance. And that's all there is about Jason Thomas. Number 11 is it's called the New Mexico cluster cases, which, sounds like it was one person, right? So the people that have been disappeared have been disappeared. In the New Mexico cluster cases are a Stephen Garcia and then some additional local disappearances. And there's just been, I guess, several disappearances in the same region and time frame. And it says that the cases might be geographically clustered, but maybe not necessarily professionally connected. So that gives us to 11. And misattributed / incorrectly included individuals are Carl Grillmayer, and he didn't show up except for on the Wikipedia in all the research that I did. And this was the only one that was kind of excluded from all the other lists.
Interesting.
Carl, he was an astrophysicist and astronomer. He worked at the Infrared Processing and Analysis Center, IPAC, at Caltech, and he looked at galactic structure, stellar streams, and deep sky survey data analysis. But he's alive and actively working in astronomy research. He appears in some of the missing scientists lists because his name has kind of some complications and confusion with similarly named researchers. He has an association with space-related science and some aggregation errors in viral social media lists. There's been no verified report of him being missing, or deceased. And he's not connected to the NASA propulsion programs, defense research, or any documented missing persons case. His work is in observational astronomy, and it's not classified or military adjacent. But he matters because it kind of highlights that sometimes individuals are included in this list of missing scientists without verification. Some scientific fields, astronomy, aerospace, physics, they get blurred together, and some unrelated researchers become part of the narrative through repetition online because, scientific research and publications and yada yada, all that stuff. So you kind of can get some bleed over of people that sound like they could be missing but maybe aren't, and they're just not very prevalent online because, let's face it, these people are scientists and probably have the fucking waifu pillows or some shit. I don't know. No offense if you're a scientist and have a waifu pillow, that's great for you, but it just makes you more prone to be on this list, maybe.
Dude, I intend defense. That is weird. There's a lot of weird behavior in the modern world, and that's one of them.
Look, man, if you want to buy a
Not
waifu
healthy.
pillow for $20 instead of a My Little Pony for $2,000, more power to you. You can have like 15 waifu pillows instead of the one My Little Pony thing. So I'd rather have you fucking something that kind of looks like a person than a pony.
It's not healthy. Either way, don't do it.
Either way, it's not healthy, but still, take your wins, however small they can be, right? Mike's not a fan. He's not a fan of that, but that's okay. We'll do a whole waifu episode, I'm sure, at some point. All right, so we've got, we went through all kind of the scientists, and I'm struggling to get this fucking wrapper off of here because they put extra goddamn cigar glue on this wrapper, I think, Mike. Maybe not. Tough to say. It's just, it's loose, but it's not coming off because it caught on some of the outer wrapper now. And now I'm just really struggling with this thing. And it's frustrating me because I just want the label off so I can continue smoking it. And now it's gone. Now it's off. And we're all fine here. Now, it's a hell of a label. I really do like this label. It's got a great, I think it's a steamboat. It's got a portrait caricature of Samuel Clemens himself. It's got the nice little quote. It's a phenomenal label. It's embossed. I don't know, raised up, right? So they stamped it or something.
Packaging is excellent.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yes. Okay. So some key takeaways are that the scientist label is fairly loose because we've got some top tier researchers, but we've also have some admin staff or retirees, which, is fine. But when you're leading with, 12 scientists, kind of weakens your argument. Work's not super unified. You've got nuclear propulsion, planetary science, fusion, physics, pharmaceuticals, administrative roles. You've got just a regular astronomer. There's not really one thing that ties all of them together. You've got some causes of death that vary. You got some suicides, potentially natural causes, some accidents. You have one confirmed homicide, and then you've got a couple missing persons, which, maybe the missing persons is a little more concerning. But, you've got 5 different reasons. So could you make the argument against coordinated attack or coordinated effort? Potentially. The timeline is fairly spread out. I mean, it's 2022 to 2026. It's a 4-year span. I think in the grand scheme of history, it's maybe not that spread out. I think that is a fairly condensed timeline of things, honestly, when you think about the grand scheme of history, right? I mean, how much time does the Bible span? A lot. And this is 4 years. So that's, a high school stint or a college postgraduate stint. All right. So we're going to group these people by where they worked. Okay. So we're going to go aerospace and NASA adjacent individuals. We have Joshua LeBlanc, Frank Mywald, Monica Reza. So you've got 3 of them that worked either with NASA or some aerospace adjacent. However, these people worked in different departments and specialities, not necessarily a shared program. So they weren't all on the same project. They weren't all at the same company. They weren't all doing the same thing. But again, they were either all at NASA or a NASA adjacent or aerospace adjacent program.
All not related to sensitive technology that our government want to keep under wraps. None of which is, sensitive.
Well, I never said it wasn't sensitive. I just said that they weren't necessarily all on the same project. But again, we're just here to talk about things and what is known, and people can draw their own conclusions because that's 3. I mean, so that's 3 of and we only had 12. I mean, there was 11 that were confirmed and 1 was lumped in sometimes. So, I mean, out of the what was it? Out of the 11 that we have known for sure, 3 worked for the same or adjacent companies. So that's, like a quarter, give or take, right?
Right.
And
right.
then,
not to mention the Los Alamos people.
Yeah. Well, so then we've got the defense and national security adjacent individuals. And we have another 3. We've got William McCasland, Anthony Chavez, and Melissa Cassius. And these were all associated with federal or defense-linked institutions. And the connections were Air Force research oversight and nuclear weapons research facilities. The limitations are that the roles varied widely. And they not all of them had technical or classified access. But again, that's like a quarter of the missing fucking people. So now we've gone through 50% of the people, and 50% of the people work for 2 different companies or 2 different sectors, right? Over a 4-year span, which we're supposed to believe that a 4-year span is too long of a span to have, a connection? I mean, MK Ultra was over 4 years long of a program, I believe.
Well, if you believe the government magically stopped doing mind control that they knew worked.
But it was still over 4 years. I mean, it was longer than 4 years.
Right. The official story was it was, 20 years? Something like that? Over 20 years. End of World War II until the 70s, right?
Yeah, but I mean, 4 years is too long, Mike.
Yeah, 4 years, too long for a coordinated effort for our overlords to manage.
Yes. All right. Number 3 only has 1. That's advanced physics and energy research, and that was Nuno Lario. And apparently there's no shared institutional data with NASA or defense-linked cases. It was primarily academic. But again, it's still like that bullshit, right? Like the advanced physics or energy research. And we're talking about the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. We're talking about defense and national security. I mean, this is not unrelated.
Dude, it's the same thing.
I know.
It's the same thing by a different name.
Yep. Number 4 is independent non-government researchers, and that's Amy Eskridge. You know what she was also working on? Fucking propulsion. Okay. Is apparently independent, but not tied to NASA. Number 5 is pharmaceutical, which is Jason Thomas. He worked in pharmaceutical research, biotech drug development. He has a scientific background, but not aerospace, nuclear, or defense related. But what do people going at, a Warp 9 need? Probably some pharmaceuticals. I don't know. If you're being jet propulsed, you probably need a pharmaceutical. I don't know. Maybe not. And then, there's some missing persons with limited occupational data because mostly these are like private citizens, right? If you disappeared from your work or I disappeared from my work or a listener disappeared from their work, not a lot of your stuff's going to be publicized because you're not a national figure. You're not a public figure. A lot of that stuff is kind of, quote unquote protected. So the McCaslin missing case, grouping various individuals that are reported in the same narrative, mostly in New Mexico, but it's mixed occupations. They're not all scientists, not really a confirmed shared employer or research linked, but again, that doesn't mean that they're not.
We are not alleging they are. We're simply trying to see if there's a pattern.
Yes, exactly. So that was the grouping them by employment or field that they worked in. And now we're going to group them again, but differently, with a kind of geographic clustering. So we have a New Mexico cluster, and these cases are linked to either the Albuquerque region or the Los Alamos area, and it includes nuclear research, environment proximity, and government contractor ecosystem. So for those of you that are naysayers, it's only a mild geographic clustering, but it includes scientists, contractors, administrative staff, and some unrelated disappearances. The geography overlaps, but it doesn't necessarily equal connection or correlation or causation. There's a correlation, but not a causation here. We've got some NASA-linked locations. So California, the Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena area, Alabama with contractor-related work in aerospace, and some various remote and distributed contractor sites. The key point here, if you're a naysayer, which that's fine. We're not saying this is a thing. It's just, you got your point and counterpoint. The NASA-related personnel are geographically spread out across the United States. And I would imagine even more so since the COVID fun times that we had. But yeah, basically, if you cluster this together, you've got fucking New Mexico and then NASA-linked locations. So that actually kind of is a lot more connected than anything else. So the grouping has the strongest overlap with aerospace, physics, engineering, and government-adjacent work. The groups are internally inconsistent even within NASA or defense. The roles kind of differ dramatically. Access levels differ, and the institutions are the same. And there's not a single shared employer, research program, location cluster timeframe, or confirmed investigative link, which all sounds really nice if you're trying to disappear, 12 people and not have anything come back to bite you in the butt. Any thoughts so far, Mike?
No, I'm just trying to track along with the listener.
Well, do you have any questions as we're going through here? I want to make sure the listener also is tracking.
No. I mean, there's a significant number of scientists involved in aerospace, military, and energy technologies, which are all interconnected. And
now the point Mike's been waiting for all episode is the conspiracy theories around the missing scientists. Number 1 is the foreign intelligence or assassination theory. The core claim is that the scientists are being targeted by foreign governments, most commonly China, Russia, or Iran. The theory argues that the individuals are working in nuclear research, aerospace engineering, defense contracting, and are being selectively removed to steal classified knowledge, disrupt U.S. technological advantage. People believe it because many individuals worked in or near sensitive government-adjacent institutions. Some cases involve unexplained deaths or disappearances, and there's some, I don't know if you know this, Mike, but there's some rising geopolitical tension that makes everything feel plausible.
Didn't hear of it.
The weaknesses of this theory are the cases span multiple years, only 4, so technically multiple, but again, only 4, and do not cluster in time or method. Many of the individuals had no active access to classified programs. There's no confirmed intelligence evidence that's been publicly released linking the cases, but again, there's been no confirmed intelligence evidence publicly released for Epstein Island. Officials involved in oversight have stated there is no established pattern of coordinated targeting. So some pretty flimsy weaknesses, because it could very well be MK Ultra. And 10, 20 years from now, they'll come out and say, oh yeah, those scientists that people were kind of sort of worried about, 2026, that was totally a thing. And then we're not doing it anymore, so don't worry about it. All right, number 2 is UFO or disclosure suppression theory. The core claim is that some or all of the scientists were working on reverse engineering non-human technology, advanced propulsion systems, or classified UFO/UAP research. And they were either silenced, eliminated, or disappeared due to exposure risk. It gained traction because several individuals were loosely tied, either directly or indirectly, to aerospace research and development, defense research environments. There's been some ongoing public interest in UAP investigation by the U.S. government to distract from the Epstein files. and the war in Iran, depending on whichever is convenient at the time, and historical secrecy around aerospace programs. Again, so far, the conspiracies seem equally plausible as the weaknesses in these things. So the weaknesses in the UFO one is that there's really not any verified connection between any of the individuals and confirmed UFO reverse engineering programs, because why would the government admit to any reverse engineering programs of UFOs unless it was really the final straw to make everybody magically forget about Epstein? Also, many cited individuals worked in normal academic or engineering roles unrelated to UAP research, and experts argue the list is constructed after the fact by grouping unrelated deaths. Psychological experts describe this pattern building as apophenia, seeing connections in unrelated events. But again, I don't know that these are unrelated events necessarily. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think there's enough of a relation between, let's say, I mean, we looked at what, 11, 12 maybe? If we include, I think, Carlos. So we're looking at, 11, and there was the cluster killings, which may have been a lot more people, but they're, in my mind, related enough to where if even, let's say, 7 or 8 of them, or 6, I don't know. I mean, where do you draw the line? Like, enough of them are related to where something seems to be going on. So I don't know how you could say it's unrelated events or unrelated deaths or unconnected agencies when they all seem to be working on the same thing. And then all of a sudden we don't have any official story on some of these people and they're maybe still missing. But then psychological experts are saying that everybody has some sort of like mental disease that's seeing a pattern here. I mean, okay.
Well, there could be a implant of that disease amongst certain classes of people, right? That could be some MK Ultra type shit. It's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. I think the more possible thing is, don't notice too much.
Noticing is against the modern paradigm, according to the mainstream media, which we say that, but I don't watch mainstream news anymore.
I don't either.
I know what's on it, though. Like, I see what's there, and it's slop. Well, I call it boomer slop.
It is. It really is. It's funny because I talk to people of all ages. I mean, maybe not the 20-somethings, right? But I see some of the stuff that they're posting online and whatever. But, I talk to older people. I talk to younger people. I talk to people, my age. I talk to people, 6, 10 years younger than me. And I haven't really met anybody that is, I don't know, I want to say maybe 50 and younger that is a super mega person. Just for example, right? And most of the people I talk to hate both sides equally in their, 50 or younger.
I've talked to a lot of people of different ages through bowling.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to be pretty with it as far as the government is our enemy.
Noticing
the
trends.
People who are ruling us are enemy. Yeah, we're noticing trends. And, the 16-year-old boy seems to be aware that the rulers of this world are not their friend.
Yeah.
The same as the 40-year-old. I mean, if you're 40 and you're not aware that people who rule this world hate you, you are a fool.
Yep.
You are a fool. And you need to either become more aware or stop making decisions for yourself.
Yep. Well, and more importantly, stop making decisions for others.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that goes without saying. That goes without saying.
Well, I mean, it had to be said.
I do know quite a few people who are older who are still have the gauze, they have the it's not a blanket, it's like a silk.
No,
you can see through it, but just barely. It's right in front of their eyes. They just can't quite get past it,
Yep, the scales on Saul's eyes before he became Paul, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yep. I hope they fall off soon for you, Saul. I hope they do. All right, number 3 is secret government program or internal cleanup theory. The core claim is that there is a covert element within the United States government that is trying to silence whistleblowers, eliminate leaks tied to classified programs, and cover up failed or dangerous experiments. There's some variants to this theory, which are the Black Project containment, removing people who know too much, accidental exposure cleanup, removing witnesses to classified accidents, and compartmentalized failure response, fixing leaks internally. Why it resonates is because the fucking government has been doing this for years and has admitted to it, but they have not been doing it anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And again, there's classified defense programs that really exist that have been historically proven, public awareness of secrecy in aerospace and nuclear sectors, and a few cases involve individuals with prior government or contractor ties. The weaknesses are that there's no evidence that victims were connected to the same project or program. No confirmed whistleblower status for most individuals, but, snitches get stitches. Investigators have not identified a shared institutional link, even though when we went through the institutional link, there were only 2 fucking institutions that we were looking at, so you tell me. And law enforcement agencies have not publicly supported this hypothesis. But again, they failed to charge an unlocked school building in Uvalde because they're a bunch of fucking pussy, hypocrite, dipshit, fucking asshole, fuck the worst people on the face of the planet. Sorry, I guess I tried.
Nate, getting all upset about law enforcement, the people we're supposed to worship because they protect us, not doing the bare minimum in a crisis. Not even the bare minimum. Can't remember if we went over that on the show, but look into Uvalde and the steps they took. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. A single mother who did not want to interact with the police had more courage than those officers that day, and there was a lot of them.
Yep.
So
they actively told armed, concerned parents to not go into the building. And I think that's enough said about that. Number 4, coordinated pattern statistical anomaly theory. The core claim is that even without a single culprit, the argument is that the number of deaths and missing persons in these sensitive fields is statistically abnormal. They claim that being clustered across NASA defense labs and contractors is fairly unlikely, and multiple unusual circumstances suggest coordination. The investigations and media analysis highlight that the cases span different years. Again, only 4 different years, 2022 to 2026. Causes vary widely, which if you're trying to not make a pattern, they would vary widely, wouldn't they? And many individuals are only loosely connected to science at all. So experts describe this as selection bias, choosing only notable cases, and aggregation bias, combining unrelated events into one data set.
Definite possibility. Definite possibility. I'm not going to deny it.
I mean, I'm not going to deny it either, but you know what, Mike? I came into this episode thinking it wasn't a conspiracy at all, and I'm fucking convinced that it is. So, anyway, it's 4 fucking years, man. We spent less time potentially in a South American country, potentially, next episode, fucking shit up, dude. So this is like nothing. This is a drop in the bucket, is what this is. This is just a drop in the bucket, man.
Arguing to a country that the majority of the workforce are millennials, and majority of millennials are college educated. I am both college educated and trade school educated. So my trade school took 5 years working and trade school to complete. And then, college is, of course, 4 years. Some guys take more, blah, blah, blah. You who are listening, whatever your training was for your career, how many years did that take? It takes years of coordination to complete goals on an individual level. Imagine the scale it takes to have coordinated activity nationwide, worldwide. It's going to take years, a slow roll, long, slow development. That's how life is, right? I have projects at my house that I've been planning for years. I have material at my house for projects that I will not do this year.
Oh, yeah.
I know I won't. I've been building them up,
yes.
Generating them for free, trying to get them for cheap. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you store it.
Yep.
You build and you build and you build and you execute. And you build and you build and you build and you execute. That's how life is.
Wheels within wheels, Mike.
Wheels within wheels. For those who haven't read Dune, you heard us talk about it on the show. Read it.
You heard us listen to us talking about it.
Yeah, you heard us listen to us talking about it. Blah, blah, blah. Like, things work on a slow timeline when real change is happening.
Yep.
Real change takes time. It's the revolution will not be televised.
It will
as
not.
Nate famously says, the revolution is not televised. So anything that's going to occur.
Just from personal experience, it took me 11 years to find a new job.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I wasn't offered different jobs during that time. It was that the jobs I was offered during that time weren't a step up that I wanted.
Yeah.
Right? So
I didn't talk about my personal journey of
Sure.
finding a new job a couple years ago on the show, but TLDR, I applied multiple times a year for years, interviewed
oh yeah.
several times. Nate had heard about all these things, you know,
Yep.
because, blah, blah, blah. I interviewed a dozen times, well, probably not a dozen, maybe half a dozen actual real life interviews, plus all the applications, plus all the other stuff, plus all the training, plus all the certs, plus all this, plus all of that,
Yep.
for me to move from one job to another job, right? And then all of a sudden it was like job change, job change, job change. It was like a quick like that. Like
Yep.
it all fell into place. But there was years of development to get to that point,
Oh yeah.
right? There was planning involved. Mistakes were made, of course, along the way, but you have to build your portfolio. You have to put yourself out there. All these things in your personal life. Look at your own life.
Yep.
Reflect.
Well, some of it
know.
is the personal growth. Some of it is the compromise. You compromise on the things that aren't important to you, but you don't compromise on the things that are. And that was definitely my story, where it might have been slightly better paying, but the hours were worse, or the stress was worse, or the lifestyle it afforded me was worse because of the time at work it needed. Or the growth potential wasn't there, or any number of things. And I'm sure the same is true of Mike. He interviewed at a lot of places. Some of it is growth too. Like, you got to grow, you got to establish yourself in certain areas or what have you, or meet the right people. A lot of it is meeting the right people and getting those people in your corner, right, to support you. So I think 4 years, when we're talking about this, where the biggest attractor for any of these conspiracies is, it spanned multiple years, as if this was a 60-year odyssey of 12 scientists disappearing, and you get into it and you realize that it's only 4 years. And then you think about your 4 years in high school, and when you started high school, you weren't really thinking about what college you wanted to get into, but by senior year, that was all you thought about. And even in college, your first year there, you thought about a certain degree you wanted to do, and then maybe you switched multiple times. Or maybe you didn't, and that was cool. But, it's 4 years is not a long time.
Not a long time for an individual. Certainly not a long time for our government, which has only been around for 250 years.
Our government or any of our institutions.
It's
or
not
corporations.
long for the shadow government that might be 7,000 years old.
Yes, indeed. All right. Number 5 is the PSYOP theory, which, I guess it's kind of a fun thing to call almost anything these days. It's almost cliche to a point. I don't know if you agree with me, Mike.
Everything's a cliche, so
it's
hard to say,
that's fair, but psychological operation, I feel like almost anything could be billed as that.
Everything can be billed as that. That's why it's a great fucking cover, dude.
Well, yeah.
The real PSYOPs can be hidden because of all the astro laid down. You can hide your spike,
Yep. People believe this because the missing scientists rapidly spread from a niche forum online to mainstream media. There's the involvement of political commentary and congressional attention, and there's perceived inconsistency in reporting details. The weaknesses are that there's not any verified evidence of coordinated messaging campaign, which there wouldn't be in a true PSYOP if you know how to PSYOP the right way. Independent journalism sources trace spread to viral social media aggregation and not a centralized origin. But again, if you know how to PSYOP, there wouldn't be a centralized origin. You'd have it spread by social media so that you couldn't be traced back to yourself, right? And many key cases predate the narrative and were only later grouped together. But that's kind of like saying, hey, we discovered this trend and, maybe we think it's been going on for longer than everybody kind of agrees. And we've got these cases that predate what we thought was the narrative, and we want to add those in too. So, I mean, that's like some bullshit excuse, man. You found more things longer than what people are willing to admit to. Like, that should be red flag number fucking 1, shouldn't it?
It's like nonsense.
Right? Like, oh yeah, a lot of the things that make this make sense predate what we agreed upon was the start date. That can't possibly be part of this now. What are you talking about here, man?
Never happens.
I don't know.
Impossible.
I mean, that's like saying the Boston Tea Party predated the Revolutionary War, so it can't count as an incident in the rising tensions between the colonists and Great Britain, right?
Dude, that's like saying the French and Indian War was not related to the War of 1812. Like, okay, well, there was a war in between, and there's a lot of shit that happened, but one event is directly correlated and connected to the other.
Yeah, it doesn't fit your fucking, like, clean-ass timeline, but it is fucking connected.
Right. That's like saying the War of 1812 is not connected to the British establishing trade relations with the Confederate States during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it fucking is. 100% it is. Like, there's a direct timeline that connects all these events.
Yeah.
So,
and now it's okay to talk about because that
happened,
was, however many years ago, right? But
yeah.
Heaven forbid, over a 4-year span, we include something that was over 3 years, right? You can't include the 4-year stuff because we're only looking at a 3-year window here. Well, why are we only looking at a 3-year window? You're the only person that put that constraint on us.
Right. Like, the World War II ended in 45, allegedly. And allegedly it began in, 36? I think the Japanese invaded China in 36. But you could tie it all the way back to the end of World War I.
Well, yeah.
You could tie it to World War I. I mean, the end of World War I is tied in with the start of World War II 100%. So you could even say that the conditions that existed before World War I directly led to World War II. And that's directly leading to World War III, as we're discovering, right? The lack of cleanup in World War II and the bonds that were made during that
fucking
war.
People over all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, what? If you didn't have the end of World War I, was it the Warsaw Pact?
Warsaw Pact was end of World War II. That was USSR shit. Yeah.
Sure. What was the one that fucked Germany over after World War I?
Now I can't remember. It's skipping my mind. Doesn't matter.
Fine. But it doesn't really matter. But the treaty that ended World War I fucked Germany in the ass without lube, right? And people can say rightfully so. But that led to the conditions that led to Hitler, that led to all these things. But then, we're talking about 12 missing scientists, and they're saying, oh, yeah, you're going outside the time frame that we're looking at. Well, cool as shit, dude. But you know what? Like, World War I directly led to World War II because we fucked people over, man. And I just say we collectively, like, people fucked other people over at the end of World War I, and that led to World War II, right? And then World War II led to the United States never, ever, ever, ever declaring war ever again. So we've been a peace-loving nation since then. Cough, cough. Wink, wink,
Not
nudge,
a
nudge.
single soldier has died on a battlefield since the end of World War II. That is why World War II was so important.
Yep, exactly. And so it's those kind of weird kind of things where you need to look at the people that are trying to tell you this stuff, right? Like, it's outside of the time frame we're looking at. How could that possibly be outside of the time frame that we're looking at?
That right there is like conspiracy fuel is what it is, because it's such a nonsense statement.
What's a nonsense statement?
No one.
And most people are like, oh, I don't know about most people, but I mean, somebody's got to be eating that shit up. Like, oh yeah, okay, 12 missing scientists, all part of, like, space propulsion, whatever. That's not a weird thing because, you know what? Like, 2 of the 12, which has got to be, 40% of 12, right? 2 out of 12, 40%. Yeah, my math tracks, are outside the time frame that we're looking at. And it's like, well, the time frame should be all time. It should be all time, man. Like, you think about, and we're going to be talking about other things this season that the time frame is centuries long. We're going to be talking about something that happened in the 1500s that still has ripples today. And somebody's trying to sit here and tell me 12 missing scientists involved with, and, maybe administrative assistants involved with propulsion in space or anti-gravity in space or some kind of like UFO adjacent or propulsion adjacent things, really only with two different organizations, is somehow not related because it spans multiple years. And history shows us that centuries can pass, and the event that happened centuries ago can still have ripple effects today in how we interact and behave and treat other people. And somebody's trying to sit here and tell me 4 years is multiple years. And in 4 years' time, I was in high school and everything was cool. And then guess what happened? Planes flew into the Twin Towers. And guess what wasn't? Things were not cool anymore. And you had the Oklahoma City bombing, and you had the theater shooting in Colorado, you had the elementary school shooting, and you had all of these things that happened, and things were not cool. And this all happened in a 4 or 5 year time span. And that's fucked up. And you can't tell me those things aren't fucked up because it only happened in a 5 year time span or a 4 year time span. Like, the fucked up thing is you're trying to tell me that it's not fucked up because it only took 4 years for things to be fucky. Like, if your only argument against this being a conspiracy is that it took multiple years, 4 years, that's fucked up. And you should look at yourself, and you should look at how you make decisions, I guess. I don't know if that's fair, Mike. Do you think that's fair?
More than fair. More than fair. You're being generous.
I mean, I don't want to call people out necessarily, but on the other hand, like, people are telling me that these missing scientists are all just a coincidence. History doesn't have a whole lot of those. And I'm not a historian, you know, and that's more Mike's strong suit. But from the things that I've read about different aspects and different parts of history, is there's not a whole lot of coincidences. You know, there's causes and effects, there's actions and reactions, there's fuck-arounds and find-outs, you know?
It's a web. Wheels within wheels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know that we do this a whole lot on the show, Mike. I mean, maybe with the Big Nose Kate episode, which really wasn't the Big Nose Kate episode. It was, you know, the other guy, but kind of turned into the Big Nose Kate episode.
Yeah, it did turn into the Big Nose Kate episode.
Love her, by the way. Where do you fall on the missing scientists? Do you think it is just all random coincidence, which is fine? Or do you think it's all some sort of conspiracy, which is also fine? I mean, both things are fine.
I don't necessarily think it's a coordinated conspiracy with everyone. Again, the way these things work is you have to have random coincidence that you exploit. Right?
Yeah.
You exploit a situation. You don't cause the entire event. You have to use an event to your advantage, right?
Yeah.
So similar to how famously Charlottesville was a white supremacist rally that the president of the time, aka Trump, was not opposed to, that got exploited by the mainstream media. What wasn't talked about at the time was that the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center were funding the white supremacists that had the rally.
Yep.
And they are also tied in with the news media that covered it as a white supremacist rally.
Sure.
So it's not like they organized these people. They self-organized, but they had a helping hand along the way.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Or the attempted abduction of the governor of Michigan, where 12 of 13 conspirators were on the FBI's payroll.
Fuck. Yeah, man.
Right? Like, that's a little more extreme of a case, but, or the ELF, where a third of them were on the payroll, right? So you have these people doing terrorist attacks, and a third of them are informants.
Yeah, and you're letting them do them under the guise of, like, incriminating someone else, I guess?
Right. Or Bondi Beach, right?
Yep.
There was a mass shooting at Bondi Beach, and the government was aware that they were going to do it and let them do it anyway.
Yep. Well, and, you know, I mean, you think about these people that are the outliers, too, and there's a couple different thoughts, right? You have the administrative assistant. They could be part of it just to, I mean, if you've ever played a tracking game, which some people haven't, and that's okay. That was one thing. We had some friends over, and we played a winter tracking game, right? And the parents, the dads, were trying to track the kids out in the snow. There were no guns or anything. It wasn't like a weird fucking, like, just even sure you haven't hunted till you've hunted man kind of thing. It was just a, you know, we got a head start, and the adults had, you know, were going to try and track us down. And so I and my friend and I, we were within a year of each other. And then the younger brothers and siblings and stuff ran off on their own. And he and I went and we were running in the snow, right? So you've got snow, you've got footprints that you can easily follow. And we were running and it was kind of an open area. And I said, hey, jump into the woods here as far as you can. Like jump as far as you can so that your footprints are covered. I'm going to go run extra down here and I'm going to run backwards back. So it looked like two sets of footprints going, but then they eventually disappeared, right? And so I ran backwards back and jumped into the woods as far as I could. And it was great to see the adults run by and follow the two sets of footprints, which were really just my sets of footprints running there and back. But that's disorientation or something like that, right?
Deception or sidetrack, sidetrack.
And so you have a administrative assistant die or go missing. And is that because you purposely killed the administrative assistant to throw people off the trail, off the scent? Or did that just happen and you want to lump it in to make things look like it's not a conspiracy? You can actively take part in making yourself not look like a conspiracy, but you can also be opportunistic when things happen that can help you look like not a conspiracy, right? I guess.
Well, like anything else, you got to coordinate a little bit. You got to let it play out.
You got to let it play out. Right? You got to take what you can get. I mean, sometimes you get good things that happen for you, even though it's bad for others.
Weird.
So it's up to you, the listener, to decide. Were the missing scientists, are they all related somehow? Are most of them or majority of them related? I think anything like probably 40 or 50% or above has got to be a conspiracy. You can decide. I'm not going to decide for you. I believe this is some sort of conspiracy that is yet to be fully uncovered, is what I think. I think there are some repercussions to this that we're not aware of yet. All of the things, or most of the things these people are working on, are above the average citizen's pay grade and security clearance, but it could also just all be smoke, man. Like, it could be something to distract us from other things, too. That's very possible. I think it's
when
more
mainstream media picked it up, I was like, oh, now it is either going to be spun into a distraction or buried.
Yep. And it was buried, as far as I know.
Oh, we'll see. Alternate media
we'll see.
Doesn't let it go in the same way. So we'll see.
We'll see.
People are still talking about the Epstein files, but not on TV. I don't know. I don't watch TV, but I'm guessing they're not talking about the difference between black and white shrimp in cream sauce and why they're walking beef jerky around.
Yep. Yeah, likely not. I don't watch mainstream media either, but, hopefully we gave you some stuff to think about. There's other covert operations that have become public knowledge that were at one time conspiracy theories. The crazy trend, and I'm not trying to speak for you, Mike, but that Mike and I have kind of noticed is that a lot of the older conspiracy theories kind of sort of all panned out to be true.
Well, there's a gap between conspiracy theory and conspiracy fact. And depending on what it is.
Well, I mean, we're talking like MK Ultra, some of these other covert operations that were at one point labeled conspiracy theories. The government is flat out admitting that there's alien life, which was at one point a far fringe conspiracy theory. And that might just be to distract from the Epstein files and or the copious amount of winning we're doing in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. But again, like, we're getting all of these crazy fucking things that were at one point, if you believed in them, you got made fun of in high school when Mike and I were kids, right? Like, you got made fun of for these things, and these things are now coming out, and it's true. And when I was in college, I was not a believer of man-made climate change, and I got made fun of. And guess what? Now every fucking person is like, oh yeah, there is no such thing as man-made climate change. So either what, they're pandering to me specifically, or the conspiracy was actually a fact. So you tell me what's going on.
The climate change thing is really interesting. We should almost have a topic about it.
We should probably do an episode about full fucking deep dive on that. Yeah, for sure. The point is that, I don't know. I don't think 4 years is enough to make the multiple years claim. I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit in a smoke screen for sure.
Oh, it's an indicator, but it could be a false flag, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the crazy thing is it could be any number of things. And we won't know until 2046 or some shit like that. So,
wow, we won't know until 2050. They'll release it in 2046 and then nobody will cover it for another 4 years.
Yep. Except for our avid listeners. And they'll be like, hey, I thought Nice Ashes did this back in 2026. And we'll finally get our very first message in 2047.
It's just like the Somali scams, man. Like they were talking about it on the news 10 years ago and it just got buried.
Yep.
And they're not the only ones, obviously.
That is true. All right. The Mark Twain Memoir, the Samuel Clemens Journal Diary Entries. What do you think, Mike?
So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole stick. I will say that at the end, I did get some sourness and I slowed it down.
Sure.
And it recovered. It recovered really quick.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't say that it was perfect. I think I'm going to rate it the same as you. I'm going to put it a 4. Yep. It didn't have a lot of flavor change. It did get somewhat temperamental at the end, but it was a very solid Maduro cigar. Excellent for the price. Excellent for the price.
It really was. I gave it a 4. Mike gave it a 4. I smoked it till my fingers burned. There wasn't any crazy, like Mike said, there wasn't a crazy flavor change. There wasn't any super taste notes or anything that would necessarily set it apart. I think the nicotine content, the packaging, definitely played a part, and I do have a soft spot for Mark Twain and Mark Twain related things. And it was the kind of cigar as I was smoking it, and I didn't mention it on the episode a whole lot because that wasn't really the topic. We should have done a Mark Twain topic, but I was thinking about Mark Twain's personality and potentially what he would enjoy to smoke or what maybe I would want to smoke while talking with him. Right. And this is one of those cigars where it's got enough depth and character to enjoy, but it's not going to detract from your conversation. It's not going to detract from your train of thought, but it's going to kind of help you or have your back, I guess, in a weird kind of way with whatever you want to talk about, which is kind of sailing on a paddle boat or steamboat down the Mississippi or something. You're just going to smoke something that has a good nicotine content. It's not overpowering. It's not detracting from anything you're doing, but it's enabling it or helping you or I don't know, supporting you. I don't know. It's a weird, I don't want to be too philosophical about the cigar, but I liked it and I smoked it until my fingers burned and that's why I gave it a 4.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 4.
Nate goes on a 5-minute tirade about why he likes his cigar and Mike is like, yep, it's a 4.
Right, you said it all. I don't need to say anything. You went on a soliloquy about the wonderful aspects of the cigar. It's a solid Maduro, nothing special, but it is good.
It's good.
So
I think if you like Mark Twain or you like kind of a little bit higher nicotine content, not anything overly, it wasn't complex. It wasn't overly complex, but it's a good Maduro, as Mike said. I don't know. It's a comforting cigar, I guess, is what I would say. I'm not trying to defend it overly so, but I enjoyed it, as everybody now knows, because I'm still talking about it. So I'm going to stop now. And you decide for yourselves about this cigar and whether or not the missing scientists and dead scientists are a conspiracy or, just a random 12 events over a multiple 4-year time span. Otherwise, thank you for listening. And next week, we're talking I think chainsaws or something, right, Mike?
Something like that. There will be chainsaws involved. Also, spirit whispering to dead dogs from 2,000 years ago.
Woof, woof. Catch you next week.
Be safe. Have fun.